but not least, record. All right, welcome to this week's Cosmic Conversations. I am Stacey Harder with my mother, Dr. Heather Harder. We're coming to you a little bit uniquely today.
We're in our mobile studio today.
Yes, and the blankets are helping my studio lighting from being blasted in the sun. So it is Thursday. What a week.
We're mountain time, which we're never mountain time, but we're mountain time today. So we're glad that you're joining us, and it's going to be sort of an interesting experience. I have two dogs on my lap. You may catch a glimpse of them from time to time. This one's a bit tired. She was out running by the river in Colorado a little bit ago, so she's ready for a nap. But we're grateful you came, and it's going to be a shorter session tonight because we don't have the means to plug in our computer and it's going to go dead. So we're going to have a quick session and have your questions and your comments ready so that as soon as we do our light work, we'll be able to address your questions and concerns. With that, again, you are the light. We're going to first call in protection, guidance, and truth, because that's our mantra. And so just take a moment to call it in individually and feel it like a wonderful drape that's placed around you that makes you invincible. Nothing except that which is for your highest and best good can occur if you ask for it. Asking is exceedingly important. And unfortunately, many people are trained not to ask for things. You know, as children, we're told it's rude to ask for things. But when you're talking about the universe, if you don't ask, you don't get. You have to ask, command, allow. And so with that, now go to, now I'm really distracted by seeing all these people on line.
It's okay. It's my thing. It's what I'm used to doing.
I know, but I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you will, just go to your place of power. We're going to change things up a bit tonight. So go to your place of power, which is your center. And just imagine stepping into that pillar of light where you become the transition from heaven to earth. You are here to anchor that energy, that heavenly energy, into the earth. And the earth is that grounding energy which keeps you stable in a world of transformation. So just be in that energy. And I want you to imagine love, this incredible energetic form of love, and feel this energy of pure divine love. That is your divine essence, your true self. And so just let that vibration penetrate every cell, every molecule, every DNA strand. Just feel that energy be permeated with this incredible energy. And this is a healing, balancing, expanding energy. And then send that energy into the earth, into the atmosphere, into the weather patterns, into the mass consciousness. Just feel this energy shared through all means. And then, if you will, send love to all those of the planet and beyond that support the transformation of this planet. You are here to help a planet transcend to its highest form. And so just send your gratitude and Blessings out to all those who are helping. And then all those who are not helping. All those who are trying to interfere or slow down or stop. Love them even more. No one or no thing can interfere with divine plan. They're all part of the magic, and our job is just to love them. And I want you to imagine pulling in all of your ancestors, all those who have been on this planet different times, different reasons, making a difference, all the various forms you've taken. Just imagine them gathering in a huge arena. And we're going to call in all the ancestors who have been a part of the Earth's journey, both in this country and all countries. Our founding fathers, all those people who fought for the freedoms, who fought for justice and truth. All those who were vested in the transformation and liberation of our world. Just see this gathering getting bigger and bigger. Then I want you to see everybody begin to celebrate and jump up and down and be so thrilled that we're successful, that the divine plan has worked, and that everyone and everything that has labored toward the sovereignty of this planet is successful. Feel how good it feels to know this planet is free. And all those who've tried to tie it down, mute it, take it out of its divine path, just didn't make it. And everyone who has worked toward the freedom of this planet and its people are just celebrating. They feel so joyful, so happy, so satisfied that all of their love is paid off. And see the angels flying around, all of our cosmic cousins, they're in full regalia. Because we have a guaranteed win. And we just have to be okay with it, knowing that we are all powerful. And then give permission to the angels to use this energy in any way that serves this planet and its people. When you're ready, just come back to the here and now. Take a breath.
Mom's for the first time seeing what I see on Instagram. I don't have my YouTube stuff set up, but Candace said you were in her dream last night.
Yeah.
And that was the dream. She was so interesting. She was hosting or teaching a group of us through something. And we were at like a retreat or school. It was very vivid. And it feels like a memory.
Probably was. I've been doing that for a long time. And we also go to school in our dream states a lot. I'm often in a classroom, no teacher present, but I'm just sitting in a chair taking notes and going, oh, wow, oh, wow. So we get lots and lots of expansion through our dream times.
And lessons.
And lessons and lessons.
And sometimes, what is it, the trials? You get.
Well, just like when you're in elementary school, you would have rehearsals for fire drills. You would go through, pretend if there's a fire, where would you go? What would you do? How soon can you vacate the building? We have drills like that on the planet Earth. And you can often tell when your squadron has had a drill because you wake up in the morning and you're exhausted. And if you talk to certain people who you sort of feel an affinity to, you'll find they also are very tired. And so I've learned many of my teammates just based on how on certain days when they wake up and are exhausted, it's like, okay, you were with me and you were with me and you were with me. And so it can be very telling. It's kind of exciting. Anybody have any questions or thoughts or issues that came up?
I woke up very tired too. Yeah, sometimes that.
Yeah, we think of being able to go to bed and sleep, but we really don't just sleep. I mean, our physical body sleeps, but we are plugging in to another level of training and rejuvenation and activation that it's hard for us to comprehend. And there's lots of different things that happen. It's not like one thing. One, you have to sleep. If you don't sleep, you again can hallucinate and have all kinds of strange experience, because when you're sleeping, you're literally having to plug into your team on the other side. You have to meet with those who you're accountable to in the other realms. And so it's one of the reasons why when we're going through really stressful times that we're not real happy with, we often don't want to sleep. We often avoid sleep because we don't want to go face the music. But face the music you must. And so that's one thing that can happen. And then also you can be given awarenesses and insights on different parts of your life through your dreams. Many people get psychic premonitions, get messages, get warnings, get all kinds of information, like your instruction and your classes and stuff in your dream state. We do drills of vacating the planet in our dream state. So lots and lots of different things can happen. It's a very important time. It's also one of the things that if you cut short, which a lot of people do in the name of saving time, they just shave hours off their sleep time, it will kill you. It's not a good thing to do. You want to get your full sleep. And you can tell when it's your full sleep. You go to bed naturally and sleep till your body wakes up. It's easy. There was many years that I would only slept like 3-4 hours at night. But that's when my body woke up. I didn't force it. I didn't try and shorten it. It just what happened. Now I'm probably sleeping 6-8 hours a night, but it varies. So just trust your body. Listen to your body. And if you wake up tired, then just be grateful that you were able to do your duty the night before. And we have so many aspects of who we are. You talked about the different team members who are supporting us, but there's so many aspects of us that you couldn't comprehend it all. You're just this little part of you, that's this sliver of you that's on this planet, is just a little part of your soul. There's so much more. And your physical and your mental, your body, your mind are just tools of the soul. But we are in the process of activating our soul on this planet, which is why we're sort of learning how to trust our heart, to listen to our inner guidance rather than, just be in the mental still.
So,
and for those who are just tuning in, welcome. I'm in the car. Yeah. We're driving across country. We left Chicago yesterday.
I don't know.
Was it yesterday we left? Wednesday, whatever.
I don't like to give too much information on the phone.
Okay.
So I like to be private. Sorry. But we're on the road. I like that. I noticed those who participated received a gift from Heather. She said, "See, you should have done it. Laugh out loud. The gift was something huge. It was like a free pass." Well, I think that kind of goes along with listening to your truth. We started a little conversation before we went live, and it was really about living in our truth, or something like a karma release or something. Wow. And I think more than anything, one of the fastest ways we shift the conscious collective is shifting just ourselves and living in our truth, speaking our truth, taking actions in your truth, not about judgment, not about comparison, but living in that authenticity where you honor where each person is in their journey, and you can love them, because as you rise energetically or consciously, our truths look different. When you're on a 3-dimensional truth is very different than a 5-dimensional truth. And so it's about that resonation inside oneself, and living in truth is one of the most important things. Speaking your truth. You want to say what you were talking about earlier?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Before we began, when we were talking about with Josie about and Elle about living in your truth.
I don't remember.
Okay.
First of all, when I'm talking in these kinds of realms, I'm talking from consciousness. I'm not talking from memory. So literally, I don't remember what's being said. If you ask me to repeat what I'm saying, I can't, because it's a constant flow from spirit through my mouth. And it took me, if you read my book, Perfect Power and Consciousness, which we do not have with us, it talks about that. But you have to clear your mind so your mind doesn't interfere with the messages that come through. And so when it comes through, it's not coming from my mind or thinking, it's coming from spirit. It's coming from pure spirit.
How would you describe consciousness to someone?
Well, first of all, I would, because it's a challenge. I don't know. We have layers of consciousness. We have our conscious, when we're totally aware of what's going on. We're learning how to live consciously, which means that not only are we aware, we're not working from habit, we're not living habitually, we are living intentionally. So when I'm in consciousness, I'm in that hyper state of now, so that I know what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing it, I know the impact of what I'm doing. Using Stacy as an example, Stacy is a person with a lot of emotion. And so I've been noticing how she goes into emotion, which when you have feelings added to those thoughts and actions, it creates much faster. You manifest much faster when you put feelings and emotions to it. So living consciously means that I can feel my reaction to something, but then I also have the ability to moderate it, so I'm only feeling what I want to create. Beyond the consciousness, we have a subconscious, which is all the stuff I've packed away, like in my attic of awareness, so that lots of things may be in my subconscious that I'm not in the here and now aware of. Just like in your attic, if you go explore your attic or your basement or whatever storage sections you have, you go, oh, I forget about that. That's cool. But it's the stuff that's in your subconscious that often control your behavior. I think it was Jung that said that it's the things in our subconscious that control our actions, and that's what we need to deal with. But when you're living consciously, nothing in your subconscious is guiding your behavior. You're doing it intentionally. And then we have the superconscious, which is the level above or beyond or whatever. I don't know how to describe it because it's not a tangible physical thing, but in superconsciousness, it's all consciousness. It's where everything resides. And so when I gained access to the superconscious, I can tap into anybody's history, anybody's future, based on what I need to know to support them. So the superconscious is everybody's connection to spirit, every action they've ever taken, every thought, everything since the moment that they left the divine. We were all little fragments that broke off of the divine. And in our subconscious, we have all the memories and experiences and all the things we've done since we left the divine. But in the superconscious, everybody's totality rests. But if you're into judgment, if you have any judgment whatsoever, you will not gain access to your subconscious, because if you can't, if you're judging yourself because yesterday you were less than perfect in your own eyes, or you did or said something that you weren't happy with, so you beat yourself up because you're judging yourself, then you'll never gain access to the subconscious and find out maybe in some other lifetime you were a horrible person that murdered a bunch of people. If you can't handle that you got drunk and danced on the table last week, you're not going to handle it well that you were sort of a tyrant and killed a bunch of people. So you don't gain access to that. And if you can't gain access to your subconscious, then you can't gain access to the superconscious, where everything is.
Is superconscious like linked up to your higher self?
No, it's.
By the way, if you lean in this way more, you're gonna get better. Yeah, there
Gosh.
you go. That's why we're sitting.
This is not a typical mode. If we think in terms of memories, of experiences, because it's all about experiences. We come to this planet to physically experience a myriad of things so that our soul can grow. Our soul grows through the experiences we have, good, bad, and different. And so if we think about those experiences being tangible objects, like clutter in your house, then they're all stored away, that you can gain awareness of all the experiences, the conversations, the lessons, the whatever. So, and they've done all kinds of experiments to show that, like in a ballroom where there's maybe 300 people talking, that your subconscious takes in everything, every conversation going on, but your mind only lets you be aware of what's relevant to you or limits you. But under hypnosis, you have total recall to all of those things. I don't support hypnosis. Hypnosis is the ability that we have to sort of poke a hole and gain artificial entry into our subconscious. And a lot of times, if you're not ready to handle that information, it can cause great damage. So I don't support hypnosis. When you're ready, your mind will give you access. And your mind is a gatekeeper of sorts.
Yeah.
It says what you can handle, it says what you can't. And that's why getting your mind in harmony with the totality of you is very important to gain mastery over your life.
And I think that's key, is harmony. Is because a lot of people talk about killing your ego or putting it to sleep.
Your ego is a very nice component of who you are.
Yeah.
But it's like a child. If it's unhealthy, it's because it's been treated unhealthy, fed unhealthy things. And so an ego out of balance can not be your friend, but a healthy ego is the best thing you've got. I love my ego, but keeping it in balance is very important. And all this ego is your enemy, I don't buy it. It's not my truth. So love your ego, but live it in a healthy way. Just like mothers can smother their child with love, and then they become these demanding, entitled children because they've been loved in an unhealthy way. Well, the same thing with your ego. If it's been starved, it'll fight for attention because it needs attention. But if it's been overfed with an unhealthy diet of wrong intention, then you get these bratty kids who think the whole world revolves around them.
Yeah. What do you think for conscious parenting? Top 3 tips would be?
Well, from my standpoint, the top 3 easiest things to do with parenting is just don't have children. I think that's the easiest. Parenting is never easy. There's no quick and easy fix to it. It's like a yin yang of life, because you're always having to respond and think ahead and look at the consequences of your actions with your children. So if you want 3 quick and easy way to conscious parent, don't have children. It doesn't work that way. Parenting will test you in every imaginative way. So I could go on and on. But one of the things that came to mind with the unhealthy children, I owned childcare centers for 20 years, much easier to take care of other people's children than your own. But I had an 8-year-old girl who was this whiny, demanding, had to be the center of attention kind of child. And she says to me, the other kids won't play with me. And I said, well, do you blame them? She looked at me like, what? Because she expected me to stop the other kids and make them play with her. And I said, do you blame them? You're always whining and complaining about them. I said, I wouldn't want to play with you either. And she looked at me like, how dare you say these things to me? And I said, so what can you do to make yourself want to be played with? You know, it's your job to have these kids like you so that they want to play with you. So what can you do differently? And so we talked and brainstormed some things that she could do differently. When she became conscious, when she became mindful that her behavior was causing an impact on other kids, she changed her behavior. And as an adult, had I stepped in and fixed the problem for her, she would have missed that entire lesson. And so I think as a parent, you have to always be looking at what's the outcome you want for your child. You know, independence, happy. We do way too much for our children. We don't let them grow. We don't let them be empowered. We make it easy for them. And then we wonder why these kids are entitled. And so I have written in my computer, I have many, many books on parenting, because I think that we've gotten way out of balance with our parenting. And I'll be happy to answer
Any
specific questions and situations. My email address is heather@heatherharder.com. And my phone is 219-662-7248. Be happy to schedule an appointment and we can do a whole session on parenting. If you send me a picture of your child before the session, then I literally can tell you what he's here or she's here to learn, and then you can facilitate that as well. But parenting, if you think parenting is hard, then you're doing it right. If you think it's easy breezy, probably taking a shortcut or two. I see a question from Josie. Superconscious is the Akashic records. No, not really. Akashic records, and again, this is my version of truth. Superconscious is the repository of everything that everyone's done from the time they left the divine, the God's source, all that is, whatever words you want to use. The Akashic records is that written record of that. And for me, that's an energetic thing. It would be like experiencing the Bible versus reading the Bible. The Bible is a synopsis of many stories that happened that someone has transcribed. The Akashic records are those records of the things that happened, whereas the superconscious is a repository of the real experiences. We're only now getting to become aware that, you know, there were, we think the time is now past, present, future, that it's a linear model of what's going on. But in truth, time is a convoluted kind of thing. So when I have the awareness, and many people do, I can go back and relive a lifetime that would be considered a past life. I can already have experienced what we would call a future life. And as I'm playing in the Akashic records, I can play in someone's probable future, even though it hasn't happened yet, and they still have the ability to change it. So, you know, we're still looking at a very simplistic model for this planet, but it's not simplistic at all. It's a very convoluted, complicated, incredibly special place. And only those who are the boldest, the most advanced souls come to this planet. This is never a punishment. It is never a place for people who aren't ready for the complexity. no matter who you are, when you came to this planet, you were ready. And it's the only planet that operates so that every thought you have, every intention you have, every action you take creates the world that you live in. And if you don't like what you're living, that by just becoming mindful, becoming conscious, and doing, acting, saying, being, thinking, feeling differently, you create a whole other world. And so it again, it's a very, very special place. And everyone, all of you are very special to have come. We're here now as the light beings, not for our own joy and excitement and entertainment. That's part of it. We're here to help the earth evolve. And the earth right now is being enslaved by those who want to keep it less than its potential. And so we're here to free them, and we do that through love. It's a vibratory war that we're fighting right now. And I don't even like the term fighting, but if I can take and neutralize energy that's less than loving, then I'm scoring points for my team. And if I get crappy and mean and nasty, I'm scoring points for the other team.
Okay, you got a question?
Okay.
Esme, what kind of questions should we ask ourselves to grow spiritually, mentally, and to challenge our perspective?
Well, first of all, I don't know that I would recommend a question. I would recommend a statement. As we know, those I ams are very powerful. And I think one of the most powerful I am statement is I am all that I am. And so I think affirming that, and that's sort of affirming your divine potential. I am all that I am. I allow myself to be all that I am. And just literally marinate in that energy. And if you're also asking for truth, if you're also asking for protection and guidance, then everything will unfold very naturally. As you begin to be in that love energy, that light, love, God, all carry the same vibration. They all are an energetic beacon. So if we think of it as a very big, bright light, I can put a 40-watt bulb in my lamp and it'll glow so much. But if I put a 200-watt bulb in my lamp, it'll glow that much more. Well, as you begin to shine more brightly, those that don't want you to shine are attracted to that light and will do everything they can to dim your light. That's why you want to ask for protection. And then, again, asking for guidance, because then what will happen is you will allow, again, if you allow insights, inspiration, information to pop into your head and then follow it. God doesn't speak to us in long-term goals. We get little sprinkles in the impulse. Ooh, I feel like going here. Ooh, I feel like doing that. Ooh, and you have to follow those impulses. And so follow your impulses. So I would say affirm, I am all that I am. Allow myself to be all that I can be. And then one of my go-to affirmations is I move through my lessons joyfully, peacefully, harmoniously, in divine perfect time. Because oftentimes as we move into our lessons, life is always about lessons, we'll get a symptom of behavior or something and we'll pull back from it rather than just really move into it. Those lessons are what causes us to get stronger and more capable, and our light shine that much brighter.
And I would add, I am love, I am light. Because to me, that's like for me, I'm like, oh, I always feel that when I say I am love.
And see, I would affirm that with the I am that I am, because they're all, the I am is the God presence. So when you're affirming that I am all that I am, or however you want to say it, you're bringing that in as vicariously as well. But you'll find the phrases that mean the most to you. Vibratory, they'll just like, oh, just click. So trust that. And it's about just putting the intention out there, not resisting what you get, and not putting expectations on how you should get it. Because if you think you should get it in a telegram, and instead of that, the phone rings, you won't answer your phone. So just be open to however it comes to you. And you'll all have your own way to get the information.
And it can come to you from driving on the highway, and then you ask a question, you look over, and then it's a sign, literally, or it could be a truck. My friend Christine is really good at getting her messages from looking at a restaurant. Literally, like the name will be like "move now," or like it can be very simple. But and that's the other thing too, is you want to ask. Show me, guide me, let my spirit team help me. Hi, mafioso. Mom gets to see the live screen. I think it's new for her.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing all these names.
Yeah, normally there's, I have YouTube too, but.
Okay. And for those joining, we're in the car in transit. And this is our mobile studio.
Okay, Yay. So I'm gonna send you love. This comes from Juan. Where are you, by the way, Juan Carlos? It says, I teach at university and they begun vaccinating school staff. I'm not sure how to feel about it.
Well, first of all, if you're in this country or some other country, that makes a difference. In this country, many states are beginning to say that no one has the right to mandate a vaccine. It's in Mexico. I don't know Mexico at all. You have to follow your heart. First of all, if I was told that I could not have my job unless I had a vaccine, I would quit my job. That's how strongly I feel about it. I believe with all my heart, this is the mark of the beast that we were warned about.
In the Bible, from the Bible.
Yeah. And so if you absolutely have to have your job and you absolutely have to take the vaccine, there are, I would certainly do a lot to neutralize the energy. I would call in all the angels. I would ask them to neutralize the vaccine. Okay, my belief is that this is still a test process. This isn't for sure, that they're still testing us like little lab rats.
And let's not use that word anymore.
Okay. And so a lot of people may be getting the jab that are really neutral. They're not getting anything to see how they fare different from everybody else. So I would put a lot, if you absolutely have to, email me and I'll write out an itinerary, but I would do everything I could to neutralize the energy of that energy. Love can neutralize anything and everything. And so I put a lot of energy in calling other people to neutralize. Yes.
And that's, can we energize the vaccine with love?
Well, I would say we would neutralize it with love. And then also there now, there's several things I've seen recently that talks about even how to undo the damage that's been done once you've had that, and pulling these robots out of your.
Well, and Mafioso's actually done a healing on someone who helps neutralize it. So going back to the neutralize part, to me, it's my belief that just like Jesus went around healing people, he didn't heal everyone. It was only the people who were asking for it. And so it is, to me, a karmic thing that they're on their path and we can send them love, but not to shift or change anything, but that just to honor where they are and what they're doing, what they signed up for.
And I think there's a lot of karmic law coming into it, because I can't do anything even to Stacy, and she's my daughter, without her permission. So I offer things, I offer advice, I offer various things to her, and it's up to her to take it or reject it. If your employer is mandating you must have this, or your school is saying you must have this, that's a huge karmic debt for them. So they probably won't last very long anyway. So recognize, if they're working at all with divine law, they have to get your permission. That's why we're being fed this diet of fear, so that you will choose to get in that line and get your jab. because now you volunteered for it. Now you're asking for it. So that removes their karmic obligation, but they do not have the right to force you. What are you waiting at?
Oh, he just says, "Hey, Stacy." And he said, fortunately, they said each of us has their own right. It's a progressive school. So to me,
Then I would absolutely say it's against my religion. It's I have already gone to my doctor twice and built up my case for a medical exemption just in case it ever becomes mandated.
Yeah.
I will not take it under any circumstances. As long as I'm living, it will not deal with it. If they say you can't get your driver's license without it, I'm already ready to drive a lawnmower. I will not take it. I will not let them do it. My body is my holy temple, and it has a wonderful immune system. I will not let them screw it around. I'm very healthy. I don't want that to change, and so I eat healthy. I do what I can do healthy, and I've gone to my doctor and talked about my sensitivities and how I react to things. And so building up my paper trail where I will not get it if it ever becomes mandated.
So just to clarify, my friend on here that has done the healing is he assisted in clearing whatever was preventing this woman from having a normal period. And she had just been in close contact with the other jabbers. She didn't actually get the jab herself. And so people who are shedding the spike protein.
And that's really, if this is even more important, because the people who are getting the jab are not just impacting, this is a conversation we can continue on Sunday, because on Sunday we have a private conversation, are not just affect themselves, they're becoming little beacons to affect everything around them. So it becomes all the more important that you surround yourself with love and light, and you surround everybody else with love and light so they cannot contaminate you. There's been many cases where, women who have been pregnant had intercourse with their friend
Husband.
who had, well, not all cases were married, but anyway, who had the jab, and they lost the child. Just that sperm has that ingredients in it. So it's a much bigger thing than just getting the jab yourself. And so you really need to be mindful and being aware of it.
Yeah. And please ask for protection, guidance, and to know truth.
But your love is more powerful than anything else on the planet. That love energy is the ultimate in vibratory defenses. Nothing is stronger than it is. So use it. Become even more loving. Become even more joyful and kind. Don't move into fear. Fear makes you vulnerable. So just recognize that you are invincible. And
maybe this whole lockup was just to help us be in our solidarity and be in our own place, and yes, have protection, but also not being affected. Again, follow your heart, follow your truth. I always felt from the beginning that there's no way I would ever get it. And then if there are people on here watching that are kind of thinking about it, do your research. Listen to the people who are against it, because those people have no money involved. They can lose their channels. They're losing their right to speak. They're losing platforms. Like you have Robert Kennedy Jr. that is completely deplatformed because he's speaking truth. And it's just,
I think you need to say he's speaking his truth. We don't know what the truth is yet. I think we're all sort of finding our way in the process. Yes. But any time through history where they blocked out certain conversations, it was always truth that was being blocked out. They never tried to stop the people who were perpetuating the propaganda. So it's a good sign when they're trying to stop you from being heard. The other thing with that is, as you move into your God self, you can imagine if they decided to try and do something to our God self, you can't when you're in that state of power. So I would recommend that you move your growth schedule up, move it faster, do more quicker, just become that much more loving, because that's when you're invincible.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to listen to your truth too. Like, what is it telling you? Do you feel this? Do you feel that? And listen, my thing was I don't want to date anybody who's had it either, because I know it can be passed through shedding, just being around. And this is my truth. Saliva, sharing drinks with people, obviously your body fluids. So to me, that's something that is now in my repertoire if I'm going to be dating someone.
There's a couple of good websites that I've seen where they were talking about how to literally pull these things out of your body and how you can see them leaving your body. But if you message me, I'll see if I can find that link again. But if you go on websites, it's certain baths you take, nothing strange or weird. Well, it's all kind of strange and weird, but there's certain baths you take, certain things that you take that flushes them out of your system. So I think as we move through this, we're going to find more and more ways of countering it.
Yeah.
But it's really important right now to contact your state legislators, because they have the power to block this at a statewide level. I bought a paper yesterday. 40 states have now got laws in motion that prohibit the state from mandating the vaccines or the V's or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. Right now, they're still human trials. They don't have the term associated with it.
Okay. Well, let me finish my story. Anyway, and so there's 40 of the 48 states or 50 states or whatever we got that are now having those laws being looked at. And some of them also have companies that employers cannot require it.
Yeah.
So get to your local places and talk to them, because they have the power to override what's being mandated at a federal level.
And this is why spirituality meets politics is so important, because we are not here by accident. We're here to shift the planet, and that looks like all kinds of shapes, colors, and forms, which means we need the love and the light to be involved, to take action, and to make our truth be known, and to stand up for our liberties and our freedoms and our truths. So now is the time, more than any time, to get involved.
And getting involved can look in lots of different ways. It can look like active engagement, but can also just do a lot more prayer and meditation and visualizing the outcome that you want. Put energy into seeing the outcome that you want. That's how we manifest. And if we do it collectively, it's even more powerful.
Off topic.
That is off topic. So anyway, just enjoy the journey. We're here to balance the energetic tight down that we've got, and you can. And follow your heart. Follow your heart.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Your God and your
Great
connection
questions.
is divine within you. And so no one can guide you other than yourself. And that's, to me, the fastest way we transform is the more each of us steps up into our internal truth, our internal everything, then the faster we initiate that within ourselves, it's like we're activated to shift the planet. And so I really do believe this is such an internal thing.
Can the outcome we want involve another being? I don't understand that question. We don't have the right to impact other people unless it's through their choice. So I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, that's like the karmic stuff. So if you karmically change someone without asking their permission, it's like one of the founding principles of Reiki, which is a healing practice that's been thousands of years, is that it's for their higher self and whatever they choose. If they want to use that energy to heal themselves, they can. If they want to use that energy to shift and transition to the other side, they can do that too. And so it's karmically none of our business what we do with other people. Our business is sending love and light. And if they ask for guidance and assistance, then is that what you're saying?
I don't get that from that question. Can the outcome we want involve another person? We're here as a group. And so it is in group that we have the most power. So I'm not sure what your question is going for, but yes, we can, when we gather even on this Thursday night or our Sunday night calls, we are creating a much more powerful energy than if we were doing it individually.
He means when you imagine the outcome.
How does he know what the other guy
means? Because Psychic too. Yes, see? You said yes. Thank you. That's it. That's what he was asking.
When you're imagining the outcome. I don't understand.
So when you're visualizing what you want to have happen, is my guess, is that okay to use other people?
I think you can call in all those of like mind, and then it's up to their soul energy to join or not join. And you notice on my calls, I often invite in those of like mind. And so, yes, you can do that without any violation of it. And then when you imagine that outcome with others being in celebration, for instance, the positive outcome, then yes, you can bring those on.
Well, and I think even going back to, if you want to re-listen from the beginning, we do a pretty quick visualization about sending love, and one of them was in celebratory of all of us so happy and ecstatic and excited. We did that visual.
Yeah.
So I say yes.
So
we can't save, and this is another comment, we can't save anyone, we can't take other people with us. No, we're instructed to get ourselves there.
However, we are here to influence others. We're each person, imagine being in the center of a pod, and if I influence others around me, that's perfectly wonderful and what we're supposed to be doing, and being a positive influence on those around us. I can't force them. I can't shame them. I can't manipulate them. I can't demand them. Any control or manipulation is a violation of free will, but I certainly can influence in various ways, telling my truth. And as you see, I don't tell my truth in a soft way. It's like they'll have to kill me first. That's pretty direct. And so I can influence those through that. So yes, you're still able to influence others, and well, you should, but it's always through their free will that they make the final choice. And also recognize that when you're making a decision, you're making it for your generations to come. Remember, you're influencing the next 5 generations, according to Native Americans. And so if you decide what you decide, then your children are going to be influenced by that as well, and so on and so forth.
Yes. Yes.
I missed that. What, for example, you're being married to a specific person, you know, what does that mean?
Okay, so here, go back up. So, okay, thank you. Is it okay to imagine other people if you visualization of the future you want to create? For example, you being married to a specific person you know. I don't mean it as a manipulation, simply influence together.
I would always add, this is something better for your highest and best good. Even if you're saying Tom Jones is your perfect mate and you're envisioning yourself being married to Tom Jones, I would not do that, because there may be a Fred Jones. It's a much better choice for you. And so I would say, you know, Tom Jones, this is something better for my highest and best good and the highest best good of all concerned. So that way you don't need to think about destroying maybe a better option that's out there for you.
And I think that's totally what Mafioso also just said. Instead of visualizing yourself as married to a person without a specific spouse next to you. Yeah, like open to the possibilities of, you know, it's going to happen. You know the feeling you're going to be in, but you don't necessarily have to define it with who that's going to be. Will it be bad if we influence or convince someone to not take the V? No, to me, I think that it's totally why we're here and knowledgeable, is to be able to combat all of the lies and manipulation, what's going on. If you are feeling called to. If I just walk up to these people and start saying things, maybe it's, you know, the best, but if it's people you care about, can I share what I really feel? Or do you mind if I just share another opinion? Can I, you know, I think it's important, but I think that's why speaking our truth is so important. And when I do it on social media, I always kind of check in, because sometimes I can feel it out of, and then I can feel it out of love. I just need to share it, so at least other people are feeling it. But I think it's to tap into where you are.
And I'm going to add a different perspective, because I disagree with Stacy. I don't know exactly what you mean by influence or convince. I think we all speak our truth.
Yeah.
And in that truth, if people are ready to hear it they will hear it. If they're not ready to hear it, they're gonna do whatever they want to do, and you have to honor that. Just like you want others to respect you and your rights, you have to respect other people and their rights, and you have the right to, ruin your body with chocolate covered peanuts, which is my drug of choice, or you have the right to take any kind of medication or do whatever you want to do, because that's what free will is all about. So I would say, I don't know what influence and convince, what that means to you, but it sounds pretty intense. So I would say you have the right to share your story, share your truth, and then you have to honor their decision. That's what's important. I have friends who called me to say, Heather, what do you think about this? And I gave them the full load of what I thought about it. It wasn't at all on the fence about it. And they still got the shot. They still took that. And I still love them. I'm disappointed from my perspective for them, but I love them. They have the right to free will. And I think we have to do the same thing, not condemn or blame or shame someone because they make a decision different than our own, because we may need them to prove a case down the road. You don't know what the big picture is. I don't know what the big picture is. And so I think we have to just trust what's right for us and act accordingly, and trust that other people have the same right to act as they would want. And Josie says, we can't save everyone. We can only take other people with us. We can't take other people with us. We're instructed to get ourselves there. We set the example. Yes, absolutely. I've shared this vision many, many times, but I think it's more important now than ever. And in this vision, it was during the daytime. I wasn't sleeping, and I just was on this huge, big, like a cruise ship. And I was on the top of the deck, and a huge like tsunami wave came, and it just took this ship and crashed it into this pier. If you're in Chicago, they have a Navy pier, which is this big artificial Navy pier that's huge. Then this ship just crashed into it. Well, all of my friends and family were down below. And it was like, oh my God, I didn't get to warm. I was on top. I got shuffled around, but I was fine. But I'm going crazy. Oh my gosh, they're all dead. And instantly, it's 10 minutes before the ship crashes. And I know the ship is going to crash. And so I'm downstairs trying to get people to go upstairs. Come upstairs quick now. There's going to be a crack. Blah, blah, blah. And they're going, oh, Heather, you're always sounding the alarm for something. Oh, Heather, would you stop it? And then this time when the impact happens, I'm not in a place of safety, and everything freeze frames. And there's this voice that sort of booms, like you can imagine God's voice from heaven saying, don't you know that those that have eyes to see will be shown, and those that have ears to hear will be told, and everyone will be where they choose to be. And it's like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so from that moment on, my message stopped being, this is what we need to do, to pay attention to your heart. Listen to your heart. Listen to your inner guidance. Because so many people will get the inner guidance, but they don't heed it. They don't follow it. And that's where they get themselves in trouble. Stacy's has gotten several big nudges to move out of California. Well, move out of California, and that's what she's doing. But along with millions of other people moving out of California for the first time in history, more people are leaving California than coming in. And could it be they're all sort of getting this inner guidance that, California's going to fall in the ocean? And so if it happens, everybody will be where they need to be and doing what they need to do. And that's what we need to trust. Recently I watched several different movies on Vesuvius in Italy, where the volcano covered the city and made these sort of plaster casts of people who died in this storm. What you don't hear is that they've had
Pompeii?
Pompeii, yes, that's it. It was Mount Vesuvius that went on Pompeii. Thank you.
Can you admit?
Can I admit? Oh, gosh. Pretend I look good doing this. Anyway, but what they don't usually say is that before Pompeii was covered with this volcanic ash, there had been several different warnings, and that many, many, many people had left Pompeii already. There had been earthquakes and various things that people left the city. So that it was a much smaller crisis than it could have been. And I think that's what's most important. You have to listen to your heart, what you need to do, where you need to go, what you need to do in all situations, and trust that.
And Raquel, this is my mother. I was talking to her the other day. Raquel's one of the people I met on Monday night.
Oh, okay. Hi. And welcome,
just
Alicia.
Going with that too is I also had that voice from the last earthquake. I think it was April 4th or April 5th. So it's 4.4 or 4.5 at 4:44 a.m. with a 4.0. She's so happy to meet you. This is our Thursday Cosmic Conversations.
And we're in transit, so we're in our mobile studio, sitting in Stacy's car.
No, your car.
Oh yes, this is my car.
Your
and
van.
then on Stacy's computer that's running out of juice quickly. So we're going to have a shorter evening. So make sure you ask what's most important.
Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free. But going back to the story you just told about, for those who have ears to hear, will hear. For those that have eyes to see, will see. When that earthquake happened at 4:44 a.m., it woke me up. And I've lived in LA for like 17, 18 years. And it was that first time I was like, Stacy, trust us. You're not supposed to be here. The big one's coming. And there's a reason why you're leaving LA. And it was like that almost of going into like, okay, I trust, like, let's go. I'm ready. I don't want to be here. I'm good with that. So again, I definitely heard that voice that you were just talking about. It was very clear. And I've actually had several psychic friends who feel the same way and also are leaving and putting in their notices. So it's so important to listen to that.
And California is one of the places that's really clamped down on the masks and all the other stuff. And
Closures.
People can say, oh, how awful. But that might be part of the divine plan to make people uncomfortable so they want to move out.
That's what
we can't judge any aspect of what's happening, good or bad, right or wrong. We just accept it as a what is and then follow our heart. Because that, kind of process is how God speaks to us.
Yes. And I was talking to my friend Tony about that about a week or two ago too, because I'm like, you know what? I am actually so glad that LA has been so shut off, so crazy. Like we have street signs on my street, every corner that's like, slow down for COVID. And it's like, what? And so literally like,
it jumps at you when you're driving by.
Yeah. And it's like the tiniest, smallest street. Like it's so quiet by the beach. It's like, it's not a traffic street. So anyways.
But those COVIDs can be very fast.
Yeah. It's just, you gotta go slow. But I feel like I had so much gratitude because it was so getting me ready to leave, because if you know me, you know how much I love LA. I love my house I'm in. I love the beach. I would probably never leave because I love it so much. I mean, I would leave. But it
and I love going to California and helping her pack up and move out. I love it.
Smartness.
I know.
I'm a little overwhelmed, so Mom's coming to assist me and helping.
Because I love it. I love packing up that stuff.
I know, it's
moving
so
all
good.
that stuff. It's so fun.
So good. Hi, Miss
And we
Kayla.
have, for those who just joined us, I have my two dogs in my lap, and we're in the car on the way. We're about 8 hours now to LA. And so we'll be out there. Yeah. But anyway, and we've got.
And you're welcome to rewatch this. We talked about consciousness. We talked about dreams. We talked about all kinds of things.
Yeah, because it's just a conversation. Anybody else have any questions? And thank you, Josie, for your comments. I can tell by the 8 exclamation points that you felt serious.
Okay, Kayla, you can come help. I'm open to receive help. It's a lot.
But she's not allowed to putz around. I'm not getting out there.
I need someone
she's entertaining her friends.
Literally just help take pictures and post everything and align people to come.
Okay.
But anyways, yes.
Okay. So anything else? Anybody else have
questions?
Any questions or comments or issues that coming up? This, for me, this past week has been relatively quiet. We're beginning to see an emerging of some political dialogue again, but it's been pretty much undercurrents.
But I feel this moon has been some big shifts. I've been feeling the energy where I had a hard time even sleeping last week. Can the heart say, don't say anything at all? Am I a lousy listener? Eh? Hey, Jake.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, the heart can often say, don't say anything at all, because your thoughts manifest, period. Your intentions manifest. Your words manifest. Your actions manifest. Your emotions add power to all of those things. Your feelings add power to all those things. And so when you start layering, saying something and thinking something and doing something, you're manifesting that much faster. And so oftentimes you'll get guidance to keep your mouth shut because it's not something that serves you or serves the planet. So learning how to be quiet is exceedingly important. The Bach flower remedies, one of them is good for talking less. And a lot of people get themselves in trouble from talking too much. And I don't know if it's vine or walnut, but I'm sure if you read the labels, it'll tell you. But yes, learning how to talk less, listen more is exceedingly important for your spiritual journey. If you're talking all the time, you'll never hear the gentle whispers of the divine. And you are all connected. You're all getting the information, but not all of you are listening.
Okay, this is a very kind of question from Mafioso. How do you explain the fact that many Nazi SS guards who killed millions of people was sentenced to only 20 years in prison, and some of them were then released and got to live for 30 plus years? How do you explain that in terms of karmic laws and how the mass murderers get to enjoy freedom?
Karma isn't always dealt with in this lifetime. Well, let's say Madoff, who's somebody that we all know, who had that great Ponzi scheme and caused lots of people to lose all their money. And he's just recently died in jail. He got punished, but it may not have fulfilled his karmic debt. He may come back in another lifetime and lose all his money, or never have money and be one of the street people from really living in extreme poverty. We don't know his karmic obligation, and I can be really glad that I don't have to know his karmic obligation. So karmic debts are not paid in the same way as our justice system. Laws are something different. But I was told that from my spirit connections that the Holocaust happened to show a whole generation of people what will happen if we stand by and do nothing. And not that there weren't Jews who stood against opposition, who took action. There were countries that took action. In fact, I'm an admirer of Finland, who, when they made the Jews and the gays and stuff wear the different stars and bands on their arm, the whole country put them on. Everybody wore one. And Hitler and his SS troops didn't do anything because they didn't know what to do. So by everybody joining together, it stopped all the action that was taking place in Finland. So I can't talk about those people and what they did. They still have to live with their guilt, and they still have their karmic debt to settle. But I know that the humanity has to learn the lesson from that, as that we can't sit by and do nothing and wait for someone else to take action. I've said many, many times, and I will continue to say it because I love the book. Andy Andrews is someone who I greatly admire, and he's just written a book the last few years called How Do You Kill 11 Million People? And it's all about the Holocaust, but it's really about today. But he doesn't mention any words about today or politicians, but he shows how deception was used in order to manipulate and murder 11 million people by one count, many, many more millions by other counts. But it's a really easy to read, thought-provoking book, and I highly recommend it. As you know, I don't usually recommend a lot of books except my own. But it's well worth the quick read. And in the newest edition, it has all the sacred documents from our country. This country was the first country, and to date the only country, that was ever founded in the principles of free will and under the laws of the divine sovereignty. And so when we became, with our constitution, what we did, we triggered other countries to follow suit. Now, through our own greed, indifference, blatant complacency. We've allowed the corruption to take over. We've known this, that our government was corrupt for a very long time. We chose not to do anything. We chose not to take action. And so now we're reaping the consequence of that. And we have to recognize that we collectively not only have to call them on it and hold them accountable for it, but we have to have people who run for office. Those people who know me know that I ran for president in 96 and 2000. It was an incredible experience. I learned much about our political system. But if we're going to push one corrupt senator out of office, we got to have someone who else to take their place. And so all of you, I should get out and start identifying people that you would support and begin to support them and help them run for office, because we can't turn this government into something we're proud of until we take action. As I said many times, that we have the government, we don't have the government we want, we have the government we deserve. And every time you tell a lie, you are empowering our government to lie to us. Every time that you deceive or act out of greed, you are putting that energy into the universe in order for them to become empowered by it. So you have to become the kind of person that you would want in office, and identify people to run in those sacred positions. And if you have people, if Pelosi, for instance, comes from your district, then work like crazy for whoever is running against her, and make sure that you admire who's running against her. But that's the power you have. It will not change with complacency, with complaining. It will change through action and really visualizing a better world.
And real quick, I just want to put out that statement too, is there is a divine plan, and everyone is playing our role in the divine plan. But it says, has to make sense that somebody gets bad karma in the same lifetime from stealing something insignificant, yet killing many innocent people has no karmic consequences within that lifetime.
All right, first of all, you can't perceive what's innocent, what's not innocent. You don't know, because we don't have that kind of vision to see into other people's lifetimes and other people's experience. But I can tell you that if someone is murdered by someone as adults, there has to be a soul agreement in order for it to happen. I can't kill someone unless that someone has agreed to be killed or has chosen to be killed in some way or another. And oftentimes we have those kinds of actions because it awakens certain people. It causes them to take action. So actually, murdering someone can be something that's good for the universe. And doesn't have any karmic debt, or it can be something that is incurring karma. We don't know that because we don't have the biggest picture of what's going on the planet at this point in time. We're getting really dark now.
I know, but the light, otherwise it's like it's so bright.
How about the lights of the car? Can we turn them on?
So bright.
No, we have headlights.
No, they're not. That's not enough.
Oh. Well,
it's just because the sun is so bright. You can open that and see if it helps you, but
yeah. Anyway, we'll pretend we're sitting in a dark tent with a flashlight shining up and telling ghost stories.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Anyway, we just have to trust that as the Bible says, the wheels of the Lord grind slow, but they grind steady. That when everything has to balance before you're free of the karmic wheel. So if I murder, I have to be murdered, and I have to find that place of peace with both actions. And so if the Holocaust was to serve to wake up people, then we don't know what each of those players are. It's like, we look at a movie, and a movie will have good guys and bad guys. But in true life, those people can be best of friends, and they're just taking on a role to move the plot along, to move the story along. And so divine plan is perfect, and you just have to trust divine plan. It's not my job to punish or reward. My job is to love unconditionally. And when I can love all the players unconditionally, I am doing what my job is, to neutralize the energy of control, manipulation, and all the other keys of the planet.
And I think it's really hard but so important and a must is to not have judgment around other people's stuff, because if we have judgment, we can also bring it on into our karmic world.
Can I explain karmic laws? I can do a quickie version of it. I'm watching the battery on Stacy's computer go down. Basically.
Wow, brilliantly stated. Thanks. Yes, I'll put the Zoom number if you guys want to join in. Go ahead. Karmic laws.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, in order to learn, there's only one reason we come to this earth, is to grow. Let our soul experience and grow. We left the divine so we could experience life. And then when we finished our lessons, we go back to the divine. It's easy, easy, easy. Mm-hmm. If you want to know if you have lessons yet to experience, take a pulse. If you have one, you have lessons. No one gets out of this earth without lessons, because that's the game that's played. So in order to learn, we have consequences. And karma is that consequence. If I do something, then
Incoming call from Liz Martin home. Mobile, press Uconnect phone button to answer.
Okay, can you tell we're in the car? Anyway.
Call rejected.
Okay. Anyway, so if I do something bad, hurtful, then I have to experience that in order to sort of understand it, have compassion for people who are doing it. And it's all about learning how to have compassion and love for everybody. And so that's what karma is. It's experiencing the other side of that, so you can find that place of balance or compassion for it. And that's why we talk about the karmic wheel. Now, the way to, if you do something and you go, oh man, what was I thinking? I know better than that. I don't want to do that. Then there's the law of grace. The law of grace supersedes the law of karma. So grace allows you to recognize the lesson and go, oh, I don't ever want to do that again. And through grace, which is forgiving yourself, living in a place of acceptance and balance with that, then you don't need to experience the karmic wheel, but it's there. So with any experience, you will experience the karmic opposite or grace. When you die, you take an experience, and this is in my book, Exploring Life's Last Frontier. When you die, you literally see the panoramic view of every action you've taken in your lifetime and the ripple that goes out with it. So if I yelled at my husband and my husband went and kicked the cat and the cat bit the dog and the dog bit the mailman, then I am responsible for that ripple, and I will see how every action I've taken, every word I've spoken impacts others. And after viewing this, and I was shown it, and it's very hard to explain because we don't have words for it, but I was shown this, it's almost like three-dimensional simultaneous experience in your life. If you have a lot of things that you go, oh man, I don't want to look at this, then you'll give yourself a much more difficult lifetime the next time. You'll go through much more hardships in order to make up for what you would perceive as your bad deeds, what your judgments are. Okay, this is getting too. So we're going to have one more question, and we're going to hang up because unfortunately everything's getting low battery. So sorry, this is too much interaction. Any other questions or thoughts or reactions? And all of you can also speak.
And one of my things, actually, I have a Jewish friend that told me this. I never even thought about it. She believed that was their karmic from how they treated Jesus back in the day. Again, I didn't say that, I'm just repeating it. We don't really know all the whys in the house, but hi, Claudia.
I don't believe a group of people would be carrying the debt for the actions of a few, unless they choose to. That would not be my truth.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just repeating it. It's not my words, it's not my things, but there is no accidents. And that's one of the things that I've really come to my mom and asking a lot too, because I feel so challenged with all the stuff going on in the planet right now with just the jab. And so, like, how can this be? Why is this? But it's like, we have to trust the divine plan, that nothing is by accident and that everybody signed up for this. And so I believe even the story of Jesus was for this day. I think the Holocaust could be teaching us for this moment as well, because when you're lied to, that's how you control, manipulate. That's how they killed 11 million people.
Well, if we look at our government, we have lots of government karma from this country. I mean, look at how many people we killed with the H-bomb, and that was something that doesn't even stop with humanity. It goes out into the universe. So there's so many different actions that all we can do is move into grace. Don't judge them, just forgive them, allow them, and make the most of your life. Do the best you can with your life. And
I don't know what a fatalist is.
They just sort of see the downside. I don't know. But anyway, and that's really why everybody gets to have their own truth. And this is just a conversation. Native Americans, we have, nobody gets out of this planet without lessons, whether it's individuals or countries or states or whatever. We're all working through our stuff. The most we can do is just move into love and light and stop judging ourselves and others and just maximize those lessons, because this is the time for cleaning up a lot of karma. If everything comes to a head during our lifetime, which I firmly believe it will, then we want to be free of this cycle of life. And so in order to do that, we have to, move into grace and allow ourselves to be free of the actions we've taken through awareness, not through pretending it didn't happen.
And I have no anything other than this is just a vision I see and saw and feel, is that I know I've been Native in past lives, but I see like the elders of the natives knowing that all of this was happening, that they would be wiped out, that they would hold, it's temperature's too hot on my phone.
Well, and with that, the people who were natives in past lifetimes may be the one person in this lifetime. I mean, so it's like life on Earth is not a simple, easy process. So anyway, I think it's time we're going to have to close off, and I hate closing off because I would really want to talk to all of you, but Stacy's computer's almost dead and her phone just overcooked. So
let's do 2 minutes to close it out, because I think that was pretty heavy.
Okay.
And the sad part is it won't be on Instagram because my phone overheated.
Yay! There are no accidents.
Yeah. But going with that is going back to where I feel like the natives have been holding this truth of knowing this is going to happen, and they've stayed to me with nature, which to me is a 5D, and that they've known and they've been holding the space to allow this all to unfold. And then they're here to help reteach us how to get back in touch with the nature of who we are and the oneness of everything. And that they have almost been at circle and in ceremony holding that space for us, knowing that this is part of the divine and there's no accidents.
Again, just trusting the process. This is all part of the game that we're part of. And so you just have to trust that everything is in divine order and do whatever you're guided to do. Anybody all of our little friends in Zoom, anybody want to add anything or say anything? Because usually it's more interactive. I know, Claudia, long time no see you.
I just have a bit of it's really hard to walk that line of staying informed and knowing what's going on and not letting it affect me. I follow Stacy on Instagram. I think we follow a lot of the same people. I think we're part of, well, there's been many waves of awakening, but I think we're kind of on the forefront of this wave. And there will be other waves of awakening, but I think we're kind of some of the first ones over here, because I'm the crazy one in my family, and the one that's not going to get the jab, and the one that does all the crazy research. And so, what do you ladies do to stay happy and joyful despite everything you know?
It's a choice, first of all, and it's not about doing nothing. It's about doing something with an energetic presence. When you feel or get some of that media that's promoting fear and whatever, love them. They are going to perish from this planet. I wrote that in 92, that I was told that the media will perish from this planet, that they do not report the truth, they create it. And so it's not something new. It's been going on for a very long time. What I did is stop watching all TV. I haven't had TV for over 5 years. I choose judiciously what I put in my mind through various media formats. I'm active in screening out a lot of the stuff that takes me out of that energy. And then I work very diligently to stay in that love energy. I'm not perfect, but I can feel when I drop down into what I call toxic thoughts, and then work to say, okay, that's not where I choose to be. What do I need to do to choose something different? That's part of that conscious living. You have to consciously choose where you are, what you're doing, and consciously choose the ramifications of what you're experiencing. And then if you're not happy with that, because you're manifesting it, if you're judging them, if you're whatever them is, if you're condemning their actions, whatever their actions are, you are literally empowering them. What we think about, what we resist, persists. So you have to consciously go, nope, I'm going to love them. They're playing a wild game. I don't want to get their karma. I'm just going to love them to pieces, and then do whatever you need to do to keep yourself in that higher vibration. Don't let them control you, period.
And I'm going to give you my version. And yes, and I'm still learning this. I still cried last week when one of my really lit friends was all about the jab, and I cried. Like, it hurts, but what I find the most helpful is to feel it, is to not hold on to attachments to it, to not judge it, but just to allow it to feel. So think of yourself as a wash machine, right? You're not there to hold on to the dirt. You're just there to let it be, do your thing, process it, alchemize it. And then, to me, get an outlet for it if you need to, hit your pillow a few times or make some sounds. That sounding is really good for the vagus nerve, and but it helps get that out of your body and out of your system. So for me, sound it out, and then just release it. Give it to the earth to transmute it. Ask your angels to come in. There's all kinds of ways, but to me, it is important to be able to just don't deny that feeling. We are humans experiencing the humanness, and that is feeling, that is emotions, that's all kinds of things.
But recognize when you are allowing those feelings and you're feeling a feeling, you're manifesting that much faster.
That's where it's you're not attaching to it. You're just allowing it to come up. And then if you can go into observation, what is this showing me? What does this teach me? What am I learning from this? And then, do I want to keep it? No, we're here to alchemize it. Aww. And so to me, what?
Thank you. I just read what Josie wrote.
Oh, there you go. I no longer suffer from depression thanks to what I learned from Dr. Harder.
Yay.
That's huge.
And I don't have a monthly charge like those pills that you have to take. So that's the wonderful thing. Yeah. And it's just about taking control of your mind. Your mind has to be under your auspices. And if your mind controls you, then you need to work on your mind.
Yeah. But you got it. It's okay. And that's the thing about when you are the light worker, you're going to be in surrounding with darkness because your light is that bright to help transmute and to shift. And so it's about staying in your truth. It's about keeping your light on. It's about owning your stuff. It's owning your bubble, putting your protection on so no one can interfere with it. Only love can enter, and literally know that this isn't easy. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We came to shift the planet.
And if you haven't read Many Were Called, Few Were Chosen, I highly recommend you read that. On the calls, we sort of extend that into real time, but that's really the journey that you're all on. If you're listening to me, I guarantee you came to this planet to make a difference. You feel compelled to make a difference. You were never meant to fit in with your family. So if you're one of the oddballs that people think you're crazy, congratulations. You're exactly where you need to be. If you fit in and everybody thinks you're normal, then you're not doing your job. You're not living your truth, because we're here to shift normal. And you can't shift normal by playing small, by fitting in, by being what the world expects you to be. One of my greatest challenges in life was really making my mother so miserable. I loved her, she loved me. And yet she was horrified every time I talked about talking to dead people or, going and doing my spiritual work. It was like, oh, Heather, just, can't you just shut up about this? It was horrified, but I had to do what I had to do. Even it was like sticking a knife in her back. And that's really what all of you are doing. We're all speaking our truth, and that's important.
And remember, we came to
the meaning of life.
Experience ourselves. So if you want to know your enlightened and powerful self, then you also have to know right. If you want to know right, you have to know left. If you want to know light, you have to know dark. And it's not about the attachment, but it's that middle, that third, the alignment, right? And so it's also we're experiencing ourselves. So these emotions are also allowing us to pull more into our divinity, into our wholeness of who we are.
Okay, and as far as the meaning of life, it's whatever you attach to it. If you want to know what the meaning of life is, then go look within, because each one of you came in for a different purpose, a different mission, but you have the unified mission of sharing light and love with the world. How you do that may be unique to you. Some of you may write, some of you may talk, some of you may make flower essences, some of you may babysit for kids. Some of you may
Make
sit around and meditate a lot. I mean, each one of you will find a different way of shifting the vibration of the planet, but that's what we're here for, to save the planet. Humanity is free will. And so humanity gets to decide for themselves what they want. We have to influence humanity to shift the vibration of the earth. But if we don't shift the energy of the earth itself will die. And that's what we don't want to happen. And again, it's too big a story to go into. We've gone to it before, but maybe next week we can do it again and talk about the last stitch effort. If we don't do what we came to do, then the signs that it's, that it's the end is near. And there will be signs. Read the signs. Pay attention to how you feel. Those that have ears to hear will be told. Those who have eyes to see will be shown. You have to trust it. And if you don't trust yourself, then you will never trust the wee small voice that gives you the whispering of God. Because God is you, and you are God, and you're all one vibratory oneness. And moving with third dimensional reality, which was where reality was defined by the five senses, what we could see, touch, taste, smell, hear, and into fifth dimension, which is oneness. And in the oneness, we are all one. And in that place, you have to trust yourself, the world, the divine, and that learning to trust is vital. So very important. Alicia, anything you want to add? You're always very wise.
Thank you, but no, not tonight. It's like regenerating. I had to take a break from all this for a while. And so now I'm re-energized, getting back into doing and being where I'm supposed to be, I think.
And, and that really is part of our journey. Sometimes we'll take a step back in order to remember how it feels when we're not in that space. And that also is intentional. Nothing in your life is by accident. And so just trusting that is very important.
And
But
also,
I'm glad that you're here.
and
I feel like I'm sitting in a sauna because it's hot.
I know the sun shifted, so that's why we have blankets hanging and things hanging, is because we're trying to block the sun so you can see how mom's washed out. And anyways, but Claudia, if it happens, ask your team, ask your angels, help me, assist me, guide me, show me, right? We're never alone. And so ask for assistance. You can always call me as well.
I rarely have days where I feel down because I do my spiritual work daily, but today was so heavy and I was just like, what's wrong? And and then I just popped up on Instagram and saw you ladies. I was like, oh my God, yes, thank you.
Aware that you're also taking up the earth energies. And so when she's going through a hard time, you may also be picking up on it because the light workers are here to sort of drain off that excess energy.
Yes.
And so just don't keep it, don't own it. Just send it out into the universe, to the angels to recycle, send it into the earth to be recycled, but don't hold on to it because as we become more energetically elevated, we also become more sensitive to the energies around us. And so you don't want to own something that isn't necessary and isn't yours.
Yeah. And I recommend detaching from it even if it is yours, you don't have to be attached to it. Attaching actually keeps it into your system / circle. But think of it as if you're processing for the collective. I know I do so much for the collective and I can feel it. It feels different. And so just know that it's not by accident you're feeling it. And maybe that's the time to take a nap. Follow your body. Ask your body, how can I do to help you? What can I do to serve you? Do you want to sleep? Maybe you need a certain shake in your life. I don't know. But we are shifting so much right now. And to me, it's perfectly normal. It's why we're here.
If you've got a lot of stuff that you've buried, because a lot of people are very powerful at burying things, it has to come up to get out. And so old memories, old thoughts, old experiences, old wounds will have to be brought to the fore before it's released forever. So just trust that everything that's happening is divinely perfect for you and allow it to unfold.
And I talked about that in my live, I think last week too, is that, yes, as we're going into those other dimensions, like we're being shook up. I thought I released all of my trauma triggers and I got some big hits last week of like, oh, that's a deep one I didn't uncover yet. Like, oh. And so it's okay. We have to be here to clear it. It's like an onion. There's layers upon layers upon layers. Just trust. You're going to have always what you're ready for. And you can do the easy button. I release all that no longer serves me. I do it every time I go to the bathroom. I release all the things that no longer serve me with easy grace. And it tells you, it feels different to go poo and to go pee. It's like, yes, I release it and give it to God. Like it's let go, let God. I'm learning how to trust. I'm learning how to surrender. And for me, I've had some huge wounds really recalibrate and show up. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize I have that deep in me still. So it's okay. Grounding is huge too. Lots of water. Take a bubble. Like I love my bubble baths with Epsom salts and my essential oils. Putting my feet in the sand. Like I love putting my feet in natural water. Oh my God, that's one of my favorites. Like I love. We actually got to do that today at a rest stop in Colorado. It was epic. They have this gorgeous river pouring through, and it's everything. So it's okay. It's why we're here. It's not always easy.
I'm reading Josie's comments to Alicia saying she hopes she's feeling better and stuff. And when I was hearing Alicia talk, I'm just noticing how much lighter and how much more energy Alicia has. So whatever she was saying is like, it's good for you. I'm not at all feeling bad about it because you're really making a whole lot of energetic progress. So keep on keeping on.
Are any of your books on Audible, Heather?
What?
Are any of your books on Audible?
Not yet, but I did read Many Were Called, Few Were Chosen on my YouTube channel, which is Stacey Harder. So you can read, that's chapter by chapter. But I will say it's wonderful to listen to, but there's something more magical when you read the words in my experience.
I'm not at all patient. And so I
Yes,
started,
we're working on that.
I've started to make audio versions and I just go, oh heck, and I quit. So
I am hoping to make that
someday-
happen.
someday soon when I get to my trees, I'll finish doing them.
Yeah.
But I have all these other books that need to go out. So working on the old books isn't as fun for me. So, but
Maybe Stacy can read them.
I
You've got a beautiful voice.
don't mind reading them, but I would love to have her read them. As one of the things we talked about too, I'm like, it's okay if you're not perfect. Like, she's like, oh, I didn't think of that. Because you have to go back and do cuts. I'm like, it's okay if you want to breathe. It's okay if you miss the word. Like,
This
it
is
doesn't have to be
Stacey's
perfect.
version.
It just do it. It's better to be done than to not do it. So I'm with you, and I'm asking her to do that. So thanks for asking.
Please do. I don't know what it is. Maybe because English is my second language, even though I speak it well. I can, when I hear it and read at the same time, it sinks in. But when I'm just reading, it's like I turn the page and I forget what I just read.
well, I actually have a new version of Many Were Called that has like maybe an extra 100 pages. And then I've just recently got another chapter that has to be added. So I think that will be the version that I read on and not go back and do the old version because the story keeps expanding. I keep learning more. So
And I'm the same way. I'm a visual and reader, so I love to have the book and listen to the Audible at the same time as well. And I think there's something magical in the author's reading it. I love that.
Yeah.
Books that I'm okay with the author not reading, but most of them I'm like, oh, I love it. And Jake, you're welcome to teach me because he says editing is easy on the audio. So I am not a techie person. Mom's not a techie person. This is my way I do an Instagram is I
don't
have a
put
phone.
that out
Okay,
there.
cancel, erase. I am technical
And
advanced.
don't speak for my technical abilities. I
You
will do
talk
all
about
my-
it all the time.
I will talk about my version. You don't talk about my version. Don't put it
Well,
out there.
I am open to the universe bringing someone in to help us with that, to make it accessible, because that's, to me, it's just making it accessible.
Yeah. And unfortunately, especially, kids, like my brother's kids, they hate books. Like they're just, books are unfortunately a thing of the past for the new generation, but they do Audible.
Well, first of all, the way we teach reading is, in my opinion, not consistent at all with kids and the way they learn. And so we literally, I do believe there's a conspiracy to keep kids dummied down. And then especially these little star seeds, their brain functions differently, and we need to function differently to educate them. But one of my goals I would like to do is get a YouTube channel, because I was a professor of literacy for 30 plus years. So I want to literally teach people to read on YouTube. So it's free and easy for everybody, because the way we teach it is awful.
Mom
So-
was a reading specialist in the university teaching teachers how to teach.
I just said that.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry, I've been doing other things.
Okay. All right. Well, I love you all, and I wish you great happiness and success for the next Sunday will be the next opportunity of getting together and chatting. I don't want to wait till everything dies. We're going to hang up intentionally. Please send us love as we continue our journey to California. I've been sending love and light out to the world around me as I travel through.
And real quick, the other comment about water, it's my belief that water is crystalline. It holds memory, it holds things. That's why we're 70%. I think we're going to have to need more water as we ascend into our crystallineness. Anyways, Mom, my battery is going and I have no way to plug it in. So, I love you all. Thank you so much. Jake, that's super cool. He's been a radio and TV producer for 18 years.
Oh, we love you already.
I was associate producer on Judge Judy. I produced on a couple documentary stuff. So it's
And
a
I
lot
was-
of work.
I was an extra on a few shows that I hated
Yeah.
because
worked
I'm not designed to
production.
keep doing the same thing over and over again. So I was not an actor material, but it was an interesting experience. Anyway, I love you all. Remember, life is about learning, so be open to your
Yes.
lessons. And
And if you want to catch the whole thing, you can go to YouTube because my phone overheated. And so I didn't get the first part on Instagram. So if you are watching this, please go to YouTube, Stacie Harder, just my name, Stacie, not softer, but harder. And feel free to like and subscribe. I think I have 40 some followers, which is kind of fun. But we always will be there and you can always go back in the playbacks. So I love you all.
and next time we can be able to talk normally because this is really odd for me.
Yeah, thank you for
And
joining
thank you for
in.
your kind comments, Josie and
Yeah.
everybody, and for
And-
joining in.
Also, yes. All right. I love you and loads of love and light. Thank you. We love you back.
Okay.
All right. We're going to hang up here. So bless. Okay. And then
And then-
you have to hit the
I
end
want
for
you-
live.
I
Hang
want
on.
you to